Okay, so a lot of you guys have been asking what I think about the T-bar setup with the Thrashin Supply. After I've rode some miles on them, I've now got 8,000 miles, and instead of sitting behind a desk and giving you my ups and downs and what my thought process is on this setup, I thought, let's go for a ride so you can see it. So this is going to be a little bit of a show and tell while riding. So let's get to it. Alright, like I said, I've got now 8,000 miles on this T-bar setup. So if you guys aren't familiar, what I did is I swapped out the 14-inch ape hangers with these Thrashin Supply high bend bars, along with some other goodies from Thrashin Supply. So let's get into my thoughts. Alright, so first and foremost, when I put these things on and did my initial impressions test, the first thing that jumped out to me was the road feel. This setup itself, I've got the top triple tree from Thrashin Supply, which eliminated the instrument cluster down here. So I also have the gauge relocation. So with that triple tree, it pretty much got rid of all the bushings, rubber bushings. It's hard mounted. And going from ape hangers, especially the 14-inch ape hangers, which had you kind of up here with some flex to them because they're 14 inches, these immediately gave me more road feel that I wasn't quite sure I was going to like. That feeling kind of subsided, to be honest with you, within a few hundred miles, and now I prefer the feel of these bars. And yeah, I get it, you'll get used to anything, but I really enjoy the road feel. Now some might ask, well, what about hand vibration and what it's like out on the road? Well, going on my 7,400 mile trip for the 12 Days Behind Bars series, I will tell you that there was none of that. If anything, for me, this acted as a, just a constant reminder, just don't death grip your handlebars. They should be, the bike is stable, the handlebars are there to steer, and use your legs to hold onto the bike. So it was just that constant reminder. So I have now all but forgotten about that road feel and what it was like on the ape hangers. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, okay, I can feel, the ground a little bit more. But the vibration and things like that I thought that maybe would numb out the hands, I didn't have one issue on my long road trip. It took me a couple hundred miles to get it situated. So some of the comments that I've seen about the gauge relocation kit, about it obstructing my view, I can tell you it doesn't obstruct the view from the screen. I see it just fine. If anything, it might take a very, very, very small sliver from the bottom right-hand corner of that screen and the bottom left-hand corner of that screen. I don't know, this is on my chin, so let me see if I can get you an angle from my eyes. That's pretty much what I'm looking at. Hopefully that turns out, but it does not obstruct the view from the screen. This is fully adjustable, so you can adjust it the way that you want. Now, of course, if you bring this thing all the way up here, yeah, you might have some blockage, but for me, it was not an issue. I haven't had any problems or any complaints about the relocation kit obstructing my view. So, all right, before we get into the handling and the features of this, I will let you know that this is, along with that top triple tree, it has the 6.5-inch pullbacks. I did add a 1-inch spacer because that triple tree dropped down the system just a little bit. Wanted to gain that back and have a true, 6.5-inch pullback. And then I went with the high bend bars. So as far as hand position, my hands rest just below shoulder length, to the point where I prefer a small, slight downward angle from my shoulder. They're almost equal, they're just a little bit below, and I do like that feel. That was another one of those things where I didn't know if I would, but I do. No shoulder pain, nothing like that. I'm 6'3", just so we can compare. I do have a Saddleman road sofa, the extended or the LS, which pushes you back 2 inches, and this is just a comfortable feel. I'm not locked completely out. I've got a slight bend in my elbows, and I didn't have any problems with any type of shoulder pain or anything like that. All right, so let's jam up to the twisties, where we're going to talk a little bit more about feel and control when you switch over to the T-bars. All right, so now that we are out in the twisties, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the handling. I think that there's no doubt, I mean, the argument is not even there. You're gonna get better handling when you switch over to a T-bar setup. And for me, I went with the hard mounted system with that top triple tree, which kind of got rid of, well, it didn't kind of, it actually got rid of the bushings, and it's actually hard mounted to the bike. That does give it a little bit different of a feel. Just so you know, the road vibration that you feel in your hands, you know, it's in the beginning, it's going to feel a little bit awkward. So if you come from a system like I did, which was the ape hangers, and you get rid of those bushings, there is some more road feel. But I will tell you, the vibration in itself is something you get used to pretty quickly within a few hundred miles. And I had no problems on this last trip going 7,400 miles. Plus I put on another 600 miles since then, and it's not like it's vibrating my hands to the point where they're falling asleep by any means. So in the beginning it was just kind of like a shocking feel, but now I actually quite enjoy it. I enjoy having the road feel. This will be a good time in the video to tell you I do have just launched a product line. I do have Signature Series t-shirts out now. One of them is the Born to Ride, Forced to Work t-shirt. Seems to be pretty popular. Also got that on coffee mugs and things like that. And also the Bagger Daddy definition shirt, which is just a fun shirt to wear. I'm telling you, I've already gotten comments on it, just wearing it around. So, you know, along with those things, I have, you know, some Full Throttle Hog shirts and hoodies and things like that. So, I don't know, check it out. See if it's something that you'd be interested in, and, you know, definitely do it if you want to support the channel. But out here in the twisties, the handling, the inputs, it is instantaneous. So when you have those ape hangers, there is a small, minuscule, I mean, ever so slight, maybe delay in the inputs due to, you know, flex in the bushings and things like that. And with this, you don't have that at all. It just really is a sound product. And I do like the Thrashin Supply look and setup of this bike. Now, I decided to go with the 6.5-inch pullbacks with a 1-inch spacer to help it, so it almost like a 7.5-inch. And because that top triple tree does take you down a little bit, so I wanted to gain that back a bit. There's two reasons why I did not go with like a 9.5-inch pullback, and one would be, you know, the visibility of the display. If I had the 9-inch pullbacks and the relocation kit, that would block off that display, and I didn't want to lose my infotainment system. That's number one. Number two is I really wanted to have the best of both worlds, to be able to come out here in the twisties, feel confident, you know, almost like I was on my sport bike. I started riding motorcycles on a sport bike, and I still enjoy coming out here and going through the canyons a bit. And this gives me the best of both worlds. It allows me to travel distances, and then when I do want to get on it back here in the back roads, you know, I just feel more stable. Not to say that the ape hangers I couldn't go cover the canyons. I did. It just, it's hard to explain, but it almost felt maybe a little sloppy in the front end, where this definitely feels more aggressive and you feel like you're more in control, and that's just my opinion. And I'm sure with the 9-inch pullbacks you could do that as well, but then you'd have to be sacrificing, you know, your infotainment system. And to some people, they don't care about that, and to each their own. You know, have at it. My hand position, you know, like I said, is right below my shoulders, you know, maybe an inch down from my shoulders, and it doesn't give me any type of pressure, you know, on my wrists or anything like that. I'm really just sitting comfortably. I'm in a very, very comfortable riding position. So who are these particularly for, the T-bar setup? I would say that if you're somebody like me that came from the the sport bike realm and you got into a bagger and you enjoy, you know, doing some cruising because you're a little bit older like I am, but you want to get after it and still feel, you know, confident and in control of your bike, then I would say give the T-bar setup a shot. If you are somebody that does, let's say, 85% of their traveling is going to be on open road, you're not looking to push it around corners very much, and 85% of your time you're out traveling, you know, I love the comfortability of the ape hangers, so maybe you would want to give the ape hanger you know, a go. For me, if I had a regret, is that I didn't go with this setup first, because that's money, right? It's money to get it installed and buying the parts and all that kind of stuff. I did enjoy the ape hangers, but this is just more for my style. So one of the things that you could do, a recommendation, is, for me, I only test rode the Road Glide with ape hangers, so I really didn't have anything to compare on. So maybe head down to your local dealer and see if they have a used bike out there that's got some T-bars, so you can see if that is a good fit, you know, for you and your riding style. Because that's the beauty of the bikes, guys. It's all up to your comfortability. It's your bike, so you do what you want to do with it. I'm just trying to give you some type of opinion as I've traveled with both. You know, I do have those thoughts every once in a while about what it would be like to have the 9.5-inch pullbacks, maybe with the 1-inch spacer, and bring my arms even more up. But then I immediately think, all right, well then I'm ditching that infotainment system. There would be a lot of blockage there. So this is just a really good, comfortable setup for me. That spacer does make a huge difference if you guys decide to go with the top triple tree. It's just a really solid made product. Really happy with it. And I'm not sponsored by Thrashin Supply. They're not paying me to say this. I really do think it's a good, solid product, and I'm really happy with it, guys. But that is going to do it for today's video, folks. Until next time, you ride safe, you be safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.